two no-code giants, Bubble versus FlutterFlow. Which one really delivers? On the left, Bubble, renowned for building powerful, logic-driven web apps without code. And on the right, FlutterFlow, the visual platform for creating beautiful native mobile and web apps with exportable code. Let's skip the buzzwords and see how these platforms stack up in real-world use. Each category scores points, and at the end you'll know exactly who comes out on top. The result might surprise you, especially in 2025. Okay, so before we jump in, let's lay out our game plan. Here's a mind map of all the categories we're gonna compare: platform focus, performance and speed, pricing and value, customization and code export, learning curve and usability, scalability and backend, security and compliance, and a little something on outage communication and status, just to cover our bases. Seriously, we're giving you the full 2025 breakdown. So first up, platform focus. Bubble is genuinely the go-to for web apps, and that's kinda obvious from the way their builder is set up. You get super granular control for complex workflows and data-rich dashboards. But try to get native mobile app behavior and oof, you're basically doing workarounds or hybrid hacks. On the other hand, FlutterFlow, it's built for native mobile apps and web right out of the starting gate. You want an app on iOS, Android, and even the web? FlutterFlow makes it super smooth, plus you get Flutter code export, which is huge. It's not as seamless for full-blown web apps like Bubble, but for mobile first, it's the clear winner right here. Now let's talk about performance and speed. Bubble shines for traditional web use, handles workflows pretty decently, and most of the time, it's pretty responsive. But if you try scaling up, add more complexity, or go mobile, you'll see some slowdowns and less than smooth action. With FlutterFlow, you're getting real native code that feels buttery. Animations, crisp, user actions, instant. Your app literally compiles straight to iOS and Android, which is wild. Sure, they have occasional outages and their comms could be better, but performance-wise, FlutterFlow edges it out. Let's get into pricing and value. Bubble's got flexible plans that sort of scale as your business grows. The catch is, you're basically locked into Bubble's ecosystem, no way to export the code and run off somewhere else. FlutterFlow, meanwhile, lets you export your entire codebase, which is honestly a breath of fresh air if you don't want vendor lock-in. They've got pay-as-you-grow pricing, though some cool features need extra payments. I'd say it's neck and neck here, we're calling it a tie. Hold up, quick side note. Did you know FlutterFlow actually lets you export your whole project as real Flutter code? Yeah, you can take it, own it, move it anywhere, make it fully custom. That kind of freedom is huge for devs and businesses that don't want to be stuck. Alright, here's a juicy one: customization and code export. Bubble gives you plugins and API hooks letting you integrate with a bunch of stuff, but if you want the actual code for your app to tinker with or take somewhere else, yeah, that's not happening. Bubble keeps you happily or not so happily stuck. FlutterFlow though, export full Flutter Dart code, add custom actions, put in your own Dart or JS logic. You do need to know a little bit of code magic for hardcore customizations, but for control freaks, FlutterFlow totally bags the win. Let's talk learning curve and usability. Bubble is, actually beginner-friendly. Their drag-and-drop style and what you see is what you get vibe make it super easy to pick up, even if API sounds more like alphabet soup to you. There are some tricky bits with workflow logic and privacy, but overall it's friendly. FlutterFlow, though, not so much for newbies. It's way more flexible, but it expects you to know basic developer stuff. If you're not technical, you'll probably hit a wall fast. Bubble takes this round hands down. Next, scalability and backend. Bubble comes with its own built-in database and scales well enough for most web projects, but you're stuck on their cloud, so if you outgrow what Bubble can handle, you're kinda in limbo. FlutterFlow lets you hook up Firebase, Supabase, and export your project to literally run anywhere. You do have to kind of manage your own backend stuff, so that's work, but the scaling potential is basically endless. For big dreams, FlutterFlow wins this one. Security and compliance is up now. Bubble gives you privacy rules, authentication, and GDPR readiness built in. The security is solid, but you're trusting their cloud. FlutterFlow, hosted on Google or Supabase, gives you OAuth, RBAC, and GDPR setup too, but if you go the self-host path, the responsibility is yours. So it's really a draw, depending on whether you want a hands-off or hands-on approach. And finally, outage communication and status. Bubble actually does a pretty good job here. They keep users in the loop, regular updates, dedicated status page, just what you want when things go sideways. FlutterFlow. Outages are pretty rare, but honestly, if something does break, their communication feels more like a guessing game than a status feed. No real-time page, no clear updates. So for peace of mind, Bubble is the more transparent pick. Alright, so here's what it looks like. Side by side, Bubble comes out ahead in outage communication and usability, totally web-optimized. FlutterFlow absolutely smashes it on customization, platform flexibility, and massive scaling if you need a true native app experience. You can see on the chart, FlutterFlow dominates almost everywhere except, those classic web builder upsides. So here's my verdict. If you're building a web app like an internal dashboard, MVP, something logic first or business-wise, and you want to avoid learning code, Bubble is still king. But if you need slick, pro-quality mobile apps, want your own source code, or dream about launching on every device under the sun, FlutterFlow is your best friend in 2025. Honestly, I'd pick based on what you want your app to actually be, no one-size-fits-all. If you want to support our channel, feel free to use our affiliate link given in video description. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video.